I don't know what to say.
Look at this shit I got.
Yeah, look at this shit I got, guys.
Came in the mail. Isn't it great?
Yeah, it's good stuff. So here's the deal, guys. On these 3rd gen Camaros, you can use the factory fuel line. So the factory fuel line on these things is a 3/8, which is pretty much the same as a -6. You got a 3/8 feed from the factory. You've got a, I think it's a 5/16 return from the factory. A 3/8 feed will feed, you know, 700 plus horsepower all day long with enough pump. So there's really no need to upgrade all my fuel lines until I get past that point. As a matter of fact, I see all the time people, you know, they'll be doing like 500 horsepower builds in these cars and they're putting in -8 fuel lines and stuff, and you're just wasting your money, guys. You don't need that for 5, 6, even 700 horsepower. The factory lines are good. What you do need is you need adapters to adapt the factory lines to like a -6 fitting or whatever. So we'll just start off there. Pay no attention to this thing here or this thing here. These fittings down here are actually Earl's fittings, I think, or are they Russell? No, they're Earl's. These are Earl's fittings. They just screw right on and adapt the factory fuel line fittings here to -6 fuel line. The reason I had all that hoopla rigged up was because when I was jacking the car up, fuel was pouring out of the line, so I had to plug the fuel line somehow. That's why these fittings are already on the car, but I'm going to put links to everything I show you here today in the description of this video. So anyway, the larger line is actually this part number here from Earl's, and it's a female 16 millimeter by 1.5 to 6AN adapter, and then the return line is a female 14 millimeter by 1.5 to 6AN adapter. So that's what you need as far as adapting over to -6 lines from the factory fuel fittings. That's it, guys. Now, as you can see, my fuel rail fittings come out fairly close to the windshield wiper motor. For that reason, I didn't want to use straight adapter fittings. I'm actually going to go into why this matters later. What I needed was a fitting that came out and immediately turned an angle, because if I would have used the straight ones, they would have came out to here. Then by the time I put a 90-degree fitting on it, it probably, I can't say 100%, but I'm pretty sure it would have ran right into the windshield wiper motor here. So as usual, I got on the old eBay and I found a seller selling these things, which are pretty cool actually. This is a fuel rail adapter with a, or that is a 90-degree fitting. So it goes onto the fuel rail, and then you've got your little collar that goes on here to tighten it down, and it makes a 90. It's got nice smooth flow inside and adapts it to -6AN fittings. So I got one here for the 3/8 feed line. I got one here for the 5/16 return line. We'll put those on here in a minute. So I've actually been waiting on this, guys. This is a new product line from Matt Rice over at DNR Auto. It's called Shipbox Supply. He just started this line, and I've actually been waiting, like I said, to order anything because I wanted to try this stuff out. Because usually, you guys know, if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, I usually use Summit Racing fittings for all my fuel lines, my transmission lines, everything. But when Matt came out with this stuff, I said I wanted to try it. So that's what I did. I ordered some stuff up. So what I ordered was 10 feet of -6 lines. I ordered 2 straights and I think 2 90s. And looking in this box, it looked like Matt sent more than I ordered. So I'm not sure what this is. We'll check that out in a second. But here we go, guys. The shit happens, no leak guarantee. This is why I wanted to try this stuff. He is actually ordering a no questions asked, like no leak guarantee on all this stuff. I love the package. Matt, if you're watching this video, I love these packages, man. This is cool as shit. You see the little raccoon? Mm-hmm. So I just want to check one of these fittings out here. Oh yeah. Yeah, these look pretty nice. I like the hard lines. Now, you know, this isn't really a review per se of these products, but I do want to kind of check some things out, guys, because I'm going to show you right now. I've got some cheap China fittings in my box here that I just absolutely refuse to use for like fuel lines and stuff. And there's reasons. They're just, I mean, you can feel them and you can tell they're cheap. You can tell they're really not worth a crap. I'm going to show you a few other things too, but these are some fittings here that just came with a regulator I bought. If you remember watching the regulator video I did, I told you specifically, I was like, the regulator works good, but the fittings are crap. For one, you can hold these in your hand and tell that they're cheap. I mean, they're just really light feeling, and the tolerances are way off. And this one's not a, well, yeah, I mean, this one's an example. This is a -6 wrench right here, and it doesn't even, like, I'm having to, you see that? I'm having to wedge that on that China, that cheap China fitting right there. It doesn't fit at all. So that's the first thing I want to do, is see how accurate the cuts are, and yeah, perfect. So this is the shipbox supply fitting. You can see it right there. Hopefully the camera is focusing. But yeah, the AN wrench fits right on it. That was one thing I was worried about. And I'm going to pull out, I don't know if I should cover this up or not. Nah, you guys know I use these all the time. This is actually one of the Summit fittings that I usually use. And I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up, but you can see the machine marks and everything, the fine machining on this shipbox fitting. Shit, I love saying that. Compared to the Summit fitting, it's just they're more hard cuts to it. Like I said, the wrench fits perfect, where on the Summit fitting, the wrench is kind of loose. Matt, I think you did a good job here, but yeah, because this is tight on here. You did a good job, brother. This stuff really is nice. Like I said, this isn't really a review for these products, but I wanted to show them to you guys. And we're actually going to use them, like I said. Here's the hose. So we've got, you know, the steel core rubber hose. This is not PTFE hose, guys, but from my understanding, if everything goes well, if this stuff sells well, he's going to expand his line and maybe do some PTFE stuff later. So there's both my straights. He threw me some decals in here. Shipbox, I do love these decals. Some shipbox supply decals. Now let's check out my 90s. I've got 2 of these. I want to say, guys, like, this is not a sponsored video. Like, wow, these even unscrew smooth. This isn't a sponsored video, guys. I paid for this stuff, so yeah. And same here, man. I mean, I'm really liking this. Matt, if you're watching this video, I'm really liking this, brother. This seems like really good stuff. So we'll move this box out of the way and see what kind of secret surprise he sent. Looks like we got a bunch of fittings. Oh, damn. He sent me a fuel filter. Holy shit, guys. Okay, what I just said about this not being sponsored video, yeah, I paid for all that. I did not pay for this. Wow, I'm going to need a wrench to get that apart. It's already tightened up. I don't even know what end comes apart. So he sent me a big-ass fuel filter. Shitbox supply. Matt hooking me up. He knows I'm going to need that flow eventually. These are available on his website, Shipbox Supply. But it looks like we've got fittings for -6, -8, or -10. So this thing will work all the way up to a -10 fitting. That's awesome. Thanks, Matt. That is awesome. Now this, I'm not going to use this initially. I'll go over all that in a second, why not, but I will be using this in the future on this build. So initially we're just going to be using the stock one, but this is coming. Totally was not expecting that hookup. Oh, we're getting all fancy now. Check that out, guys. I wanted to get a white background because everything here is black, and I wanted you to be able to kind of see what we're working with, because I'm going to show you guys my entire fuel system. But this is all the shipbox supply stuff. We're not using this filter right now, but it is coming in the future. That's on down when we switch over to the dual pumps and everything. So we're going to set that aside, because I know there's going to be questions over the entire fuel system, so I'm going to answer them all. So we got our quick connect. I'm not even going to show the logo on this shit. I'm just going to blank it out. I was going to, like I said earlier, I was going to order the straight. Matt actually does have straight fuel rail adapters, and I've talked to him. I'm hoping he's looking into getting some of these angled fuel rail adapters too, for people in a situation similar to mine. And the fact of the matter is, if I was running my all new fuel rails out the back, I wouldn't have needed these. I could have just ordered the straight adapters from Matt at Shipbox Supply. But because I'm reusing the factory lines, that's what forced me to have to use these angled adapters here. All right, so that's up front. That's everything, guys. We're running through the factory fuel lines to the adapters that I already have on there, the Earl's adapters. We're going from that. We're using the Shipbox Supply fittings here, the Shipbox Supply -6 hose, to the fuel rail, where we're using these angled adapters. And then for you guys that are going to ask all kinds of questions about everything, the current setup starting off, I have a set of fuel injectors that I decapped and Eric Durr flowed. They flow at 76 pounds. So, you know, we're starting off with a nitrous, nitrous setup. So, and it's going to be a wet kit. So I don't even need all that injector. To be honest, I probably could have used the stock injectors that came on this 5.3, but I'm just choosing to put the decaps in because, like I said, Eric Durr has flowed them. I know what they flow. I know they're clean. I know they're doing what they're supposed to do. The injectors that came with this engine had 300 and something thousand miles on it. I don't know if they're flowing good, clogged, or whatever, and I did not want to pay Eric to flow a set of stock injectors. So I just threw the decaps in it. That's what we're going to start off with. We're starting this thing initially, hopefully in the next couple weeks, we're going to start it with the stock fuel pump. That stock V6 fuel pump, I highly doubt is going to support anything. Honestly, I don't think it'll even support this stock 5.3. The reason I say that is I've owned a lot of these cars, and even with the TPI 305, once I would throw like 100 shot of nitrous at it, it'd pretty much be starving for fuel with the stock pump. I'm not sure if this V6 car comes with the same pump as the TPI cars did, but even if it does, it's not enough pump. So, a buddy of mine, Zane, you guys have heard me talk about him before, he actually wanted me to test this. This is an Oasis pump that came from Amazon. I think these are only about $15. But he actually sent us this pump a year ago, wanted me to test it out, and I've not had an opportunity till now. This is supposed to be a 340 LPH in-tank pump. And you can see it's the whole kit. It comes with the pump. It says Oasis on it. Comes with the sock. All the goodies. Everything, you need for a fuel pump. Now, honestly, I don't have much faith in this pump, but I told Zane I would test this out. So, initially what we're going to do, we're going to get the car started and running on the stock V6 fuel pump. Once I know everything's good, we're going to drop the tank. We're going to put this Oasis fuel pump in it, and I'm going to use the Holly to monitor fuel pressure. We're going to try to run nitrous, everything. If this does what it's supposed to do, this ought to be all the pump I need for, 600 horsepower on nitrous. I don't think this is going to be all the pump I need, but that's the initial plan, guys. That's the initial fuel system. Cheap ass 340 pump we're testing out. Everything you see here, the decat fuel injectors and the stock filter, and that's it. Later on down the road, we're going to switch over to dual fuel pumps, probably a set of 525 pumps, something like that. But anyway, I've talked about this enough. You guys see what all we're working with, so let's go ahead and get these fuel lines made and get this put in. We're getting started here, so we'll go ahead and get our fuel rail adapters put on here first. We'll start with the 5/16 adapter down here. And just so you know, my intake isn't even bolted down, guys, so I could probably do this on the workbench, just pull the intake off. But I'm just doing it over here on the car for dramatic effect. So we'll put that on there, and because I don't care about scratched up fittings, we'll use a couple adjustable wrenches to tighten this crap up. Or we won't, because the wrenches won't fit in there. I'm just messing these all up. That's what I'm doing. There we go. I think I'm biting now. Yeah. Pretty sure that's going to be good. Just scratch these up real good. That's the way I like it. All scratched up and freaking nasty. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. Just snap on. Throw this on a collar on here and screw it down. I do want it to be kind of at an upward angle. Really don't even need the second wrench on these. I mean, I think that's good. Hopefully they don't leak. Alright. That's pretty much all there is to that. Just broke my fucking camera mount, guys. On my selfie stick. Well, rest in peace, selfie stick. Now I have no way to extend and get the camera over here, so go ahead and cue all the "we can't see what you're doing" comments. Nothing I can do about it, guys. I'll have to order another selfie stick. I'm not complaining. That one lasted a couple years now. So like I said, I just had this stuff on here. I just rigged it up to keep the fuel lines from leaking, because when I jacked up the back of the car, fuel was pouring out these lines here. But once I get these off, you guys will be able to better see these adapters, these Earl's adapters that I was telling you about. You can see I had these just rigged up to block off the fuel. So we don't need those now. Now you can see the Earl's adapters. They just screw down on here, tighten up, and supposedly that's sealed up if I bought the right adapters. If not, we'll find out once I kick the fuel pump on, won't we? So Matt's actually put me in a peculiar situation in that by sending me that free stuff, in that I said from the beginning on this project that I was not going to put any stickers on this car unless that company was a sponsor. And Matt is not an official sponsor. I'll go ahead and tell you guys that. But I feel kind of obligated to put a sticker on the car since he sent me that free filter. This is probably going to sound completely counterintuitive to most of you, but I have never used this this nylon braided hose. This is what I'm used to dealing with, okay? The stainless braids. And everybody complains about having to use this stainless braid hose that, you know, they have so much trouble getting it in. Guys, I've never had trouble making AN fittings with no special tools, you know, with this stainless hose. I have never dealt with this. Generally what I do is I tape up the end on the stainless hose now, I will tape up the end and I will cut in the middle of the tape. Then I will peel the tape back off, and what I generally do is I get like half of it in. Now this is with the stainless braid. I get half of it in and I kind of fold it over, and inevitably there'll be some pieces sticking up, and I'll just hold it like that, and I'll take a small screwdriver and kind of cram the pieces of braid into the end, and then once it's all in, I'll just kind of twist this the rest of the way on. What I'm worried about with this braid, and this isn't specific to Shitbox Supply, this is just because I've never used this type of braid before. What I'm worried about with it is it coming unraveled, because it's, you know, it's not a hard braid, it's a soft braid. So we'll have to see how that goes. Also, I usually cut my hose with a cutoff wheel, and I'm not sure how this stuff is going to act to that, so I guess we'll find out here in just a second. I was going to say I'll start one end of the hose with what's already been cut, but you cut these kind of crooked there, Matt. Brother, you cut them crooked. I wonder if I can use a cable cutter on this. Just for shits, I want to see if I can cut this with just this is what I use to cut battery cables. I just want to see if it'll cut it, and if so, how bad of a cut it'll be. Oh, damn. Well, that cut it perfect. Huh. Well, here you go, guys. If you didn't see the battery relocation video, I actually put a link to this. You get these and a pair of battery cable crimpers for $20. You'll have to check out the video right before this one in the Chaos Theory playlist. It's the battery relocation video, and yeah, these things were awesome. I know you cannot cut stainless braid with those, but apparently this nylon braid cuts pretty well. Before I unpeel that all the way, we're going to start with the angled fitting. Alright, let's see if this comes unfurled when I pull this off, because that's what I'm worried about. I'm going to try to peel up instead of around. Come on. It wasn't too bad. Let's see if we can slip this bad boy on. Twist. Oh shit, that was totally painless. Totally freaking painless. Is it all the way in there? Where's my flashlight? Okay, yeah. We're all the way up. You want to make sure you use good lubrication in the hose there. A little spit, a little dabble do ya. You can dip the end of this in like Vaseline or something like that, guys. I always joke about how I just spit on these things and put them together. That's how I've been assembling AN fittings for like 20 something years now. I don't think I've ever used oil on any of them. Get it down to that point, because I give a shit about scratches. Put this on here. Just keep twisting. Just want to keep going until it bottoms out. I'm really going to show you guys something that all you anal retentive guys that are like, man, don't scratch your fittings and you should use the right tools for this. I'm going to show you something here in a minute that's really going to piss you guys off. Is he going to line the corners up? Well, they're lined up now, so we'll go a little bit further. Just so nobody can accuse me of perfection. Alright. First one's put together. This guy's still swiveling. We're in there tight. Here's what I was going to show you guys. I've actually got a set of the AN holders that go on a vise, And obviously you've already seen I have AN wrenches to keep from scratching these, but I just don't give a shit. So let's go screw this on the car and measure it off to cut the other end. So this one is our feed. So that's gonna get, well, you know what? Let's do the return first because it's on the bottom. So it'll be easier to get to it now. All right, so there's our feed, or our return. And I'm gonna try to figure out how I wanna route this. Now we've got some manifolds coming and I'm not sure where they're gonna stick up precisely. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this line around just like that. Or maybe, nah, it's not gonna go that way. So we'll just plan on bringing it up right like that and cutting it right about there. I ordered 10 feet of line, so we got plenty to play with. You can that's a good thing about AN fittings, guys, is you can redo them as many times as you want. I mean, you know, you can take the fittings apart, put them back together, especially if you use lube when you put them together so you don't gall the threads. Don't be like me. That's why I show you guys how I do shit and then I tell you how to do it the right way. So you're not just fucking your stuff up. So I marked my line. I actually just held my thumb on it. So I'm gonna put some masking tape around this and we're gonna cut it again. I can't give away all my secrets. Okay, so that's the return line. I'm going to go ahead and make the feed line the same way. Okay, everything's all made up. See our adapters to our 90s. Got the hoses routed over this way to our straights, and then our 90-degree fuel rail fittings. So that's it, guys. I mean, that's, you know, like 30 minutes max worth of work to convert your 3rd gen Camaro fuel lines over to work with an LS. Now I don't have the Holly hooked up yet, but I'm going to try to trigger the fuel pump. And well, actually what I'm going to do, I don't want to pressurize this fuel rail yet because I'm going to be taking this intake back off to clean it up and do a few other things to it. So I'm going to take the lines loose here because I do want to check and make sure none of my fittings are leaking. So I'm going to take the lines loose and I'll take my little -6 plugs here and put them in the end, and then I'm going to try to pressurize this fuel pump and see if any of my fittings or lines are leaking. With our cheap eBay cable cutters. And it looks like another perfect cut. Tell you what, guys, I'm glad I thought of that because that's way, yeah. I don't think I'm ever going to use the stainless line again. That's way easier than trying to cut this shit with a cutoff wheel. So we're actually going to do 2 fittings right now off camera. I already showed you how to do one. I'm not going to make you watch me do all of these. So I'm going to go ahead and put my straight fitting on this end now, and I'll put my 90 on the cut end of the long piece to get ready to make our feed line. Just to demonstrate what I was talking about earlier about these really cheap China fittings not fitting, like the one that I used as a plug, this -6 wrench, this is supposed to be a -6 fitting, and I can't get this -6 wrench on it at all. I'm actually having to use, you know, 2 adjustable wrenches to get this plug out. We're going to have to do a to be continued on this one. Apparently something is not quite right with the wiring over here. So I've got no fuel pump, like even like this wire right here, this gray wire, when I hit it with 12 volts, it should kick the fuel pump on. as far as I know, but it's not kicking the fuel pump on. And then also I checked my starter wire here. I had the wife try to start the car, turn the key all the way forward to the crank position, and I had no voltage at that start wire either that goes to the starter. So something is not quite finished yet. I'm gonna have to figure this out, but anyway, that's the fuel system. That's the rundown, what I'm gonna be using. Now you guys know. And as far as testing the fuel lines for leaks, we'll just have to do that in a future video. So once again, a big shout out to Matt Rice at Shipbox Supply. I will put a link to his website in the video description if you guys want to go order you up some Shipbox Supply parts. And links to all the other parts I use, as I've already mentioned, those will be in the video description as well. I'm just gonna piddle with this a little bit, see if I can get this wiring situation figured out, and you guys go find something to piddle with too. Get out in the garage, get something done, and I'll see you next time here on Bad Luck Garage.